Hello, hello, hello. It is me, your True Hill Phenom SP3, back in the saddle once again with Mommy Nyangi's baby boy, Sat E, and we are here to talk some NXT 2.0, your Mocha 2.0 edition on this Wednesday. Sat E, how you doing? And what does the E stand for today?
The E stands for eager. Sat E Nyangi is eager to get on this show and speak about NXT 2.0. I'm mobbing with SP3. For those of you who don't know, SP3 stands for Sydney Poitier III. Indeed.
You're gonna get people that believe you. I mean, you did give them, you did pull back the curtain a little bit, and I want to tell you, I got DMs this week from last week when you revealed who my wife's uncle is, and people. I'm just gonna put it out in the open right from the start, so you don't have to get the timestamp for where it happened last week. Yes, my wife's uncle is Gorilla Monsoon. That is true. That is a true story. It's not just a joke. I know we do a lot of jokes and
Do
in
we do?
jokes. Oh,
Do we?
I guess we do too many. I don't know. If
Oh,
you
can I say something? Oh, yeah, I'm glad you brought it up. Okay, if we do too many jokes, I'm gonna play it straight today. And let's see how you love that.
let's see how you love that. And we're here not only for the jokes, not only for a good time talking about NXT 2.0. We are here for the numbers, for the facts, for the factual information. And here is NXT 2.0 from April 26, 2022 by the numbers, Sat. You want to hear these numbers?
Hit me with the numbers.
We had 4 name changes,
We did.
5 debuts, two
We
in
did.
vignettes.
We did.
We had 1 re-debut.
We did.
We had 1 return of a former NXT tag team champions. We'll get
We
to
did.
that.
We did.
And we had 23 women featured on the show. Woo. NXT 2.0 by the numbers.
Isn't that normal? Because before we get to it, because people saying it smells like a conspiracy is not. See, Michael Hickenbottom, Book of the Year, tends to book a lot of women. Yes, yesterday's show
He is a
seemed like
sexy boy.
he's a sexy boy. He loves them women's. He likes sunny days, if you know what I mean. But
Hey, watch his stuff from 1996. He always loved the young women.
oh,
So I'm
within age. Yes.
I always, when I watch him in 1996, I'd be like, Chris Hansen, where you at? I'll be dialing up Chris. But go ahead, Seth.
Yeah, like I was saying, a lot of people want to say, because Becky Lynch made comments about how WWE has their affairs in order in terms of stars, because there's different criterias. Yeah, the women booking lately for the WWE has been whack. I ain't gonna argue with that. When it comes to the word stars, legit stars, you ask your casual audience, they know more WWE female stars than they do AEW stars. But yeah, Michael Hickenbottom exists within the developmental system, which should not be in the criteria of what Becky was talking about. They tend to have women already. They book their women solidly. I will say that, because at least you don't say, where's the women's match? There was no women's match. There's usually a lot of women's matches. So do not put Michael Hickenbottom in the same line of fire. Thank you. Sir, it's up to you.
Michael Hickenbottom loves the women. He loves the ladies. Just act Sunny Days. But as you see in the title, everyone is getting a name change as of late. It's a lot of name changes, a lot of debuts. I think in the past month, we've had about at least double digits of debuts or people coming over from NXT UK, whether it be a Nathan Frazier who debuted on this show, whether it be a Kid who we talked about numerous times on our Mocha 2.0 review, whether it be Elton Prince and Kilt Wilson, the new NXT tag team champions, Pretty Deadly. But on this episode alone, Sat, we had, like I said before, we had 4 name changes. That doesn't include a debut that also had a name change, but we had Kayla Inley, who is now Kiana James. This is officially kind of a re-debut for her, as she was Kayla Inley before, but now she is
Oh.
Kiana James. She's going to be a part of the women's breakout tournament. I don't know if I didn't include this one, but Bianca Corelli, the daughter of Santina Morella, also had a vignette on this show. She is now known as Ariana Grace. We also had Kaylee Ray officially become Alba Fire with the vignette showing, explaining that she comes from the Scottish background and it's all about the fire. And she will show a new side of herself, which is Alba Fire.
If she dresses up like, Phoenix from X-Men, that'll be a plus. I think they're leaning into it. Red hair, she likes setting things on fire, her baseball bat's on fire. Why not go there, man?
Why not? Why not go all the way with it? They officially name change Casey Catanzara into Katana Chance. She was on this show in tag team action with Kayden Carter, and in one that we didn't see coming. A lot of these, we have already known about, but one we didn't see coming is Robert Stone is now Mr. Stone. And that is the fourth name change that we had on the show. Kiana James was featured in a vignette for the women's breakout tournament. She talked about being a part of the corporate world, but she's now going to bring that fierce fire from the corporate world onto NXT 2.0. You had Ariana Grace explain that she is trained in MMA and boxing, and she's going to bring that in the women's breakout tournament. That starts in 2 weeks' time. So a lot of name changes, a lot of debuts. What's your thoughts on this, Sat?
I wrote something. I'm trying to gauge what my audience is. In the chat, expose your age if you get where this is going or you get this joke. I wrote in my notes, Kiana James, who is dressed like a York Foundation intern. I heard she personally is mentored by Miss Alexandra York, the founder of the York Foundation. Show your age if you get this joke.
Mochachats.
Mochachats if you get it. Yes.
If you get it, if you understand what Sat is talking about.
Nuance. There's nuances. What do you mean? SP, don't act. SP3 is like what? 3, 4, 5 years older than me. He's my big brother, which I give him the respect. I'm not calling out your age. I'm just saying you're my big brother. You come from the same generation as me. You get that joke. It's nuance. It's funny. Salone Jacobs is 19 and she's coming. That's all I got from her. And with Ariana Grace,
Grace.
Yeah, who, by the way, in real life, she's not related to your family because I know your partner hates the fact that people can't tell the difference between kayfabe and real life and a tribute with real life.
My wife's last name is Morella, so people have always said that she's related to Santino and not Gorilla Monsoon. So see, we put it all together. We put what I just said all together with all the name changes. But what do you think about all these name changes? Of course, especially Kaylee Ray becoming Alpha Fire and Casey Catanzara becoming Katana Chance.
You know, when you can't fight against the tide, you just go into it. That's the way I see it because Vince McMahon wants everyone that had pre-existing names or reputation to be gone. We hate it, but it comes to a point, if you hold on to a grudge, you're gonna get negative. It's part of the business. The old man is in his late 70s, should have retired a long time ago, but he hasn't. So we have to put up with his tantrums and him changing his edict on the spot. So Katana Chance, decent name. You know, Casey Catanzaro. See, I can't say her name. Katana Chance should be a champion by now. She's super uber talented. And Alba Fire, it's a nice name, you know. It's a nice, yeah, we knew who she was, KLR. She's gonna be the KLR bomb anymore, but you know, I'm fine with it. I'm fine.
Now it's the fire bomb. It's the fire bomb.
Is it? Are you sure?
No, that's what I'm calling it. I'm calling it that now. I don't care what they say. But yeah, I mean, these name changes are the Alba Fire going from Kaylee Ray to Alba Fire is the one that probably is going to take the most time to get used to, and Katana Chance as well, because Casey Catanzaro, she was an American Ninja Warrior, so I knew her from there before she even became a WWE superstar. So that's going to take time to transition, but at this point, it is a far cry from Marcel Barthel becoming Ludwig Kaiser. So I think I'm fine with these. I'm fine with these for now. But we want to know what all of you think. Do you like the name changes? Do you think that it's a little bit too much with the amount of people? Like I said, double figures of the people that have either had their name changed, debuted on this show, or returned to this show in the last month. It's a little overwhelming, and it's not the best idea for a show that you want people to get invested in from week to week to have this much at one time. It's a lot, but we want to hear from all of you. Let us know with the Mochachats, WrestleTalk.com/support set.
Can any of you just tweet Alba Fire and let her know her catchphrase should be Alba, Alba, I'm about to light you on fire.
And tell her to say it a lot better than what Sat just did.
It was good in my head. And then I said
it took a while for you to process that. Like you came up with it, and I kept waiting.
I'm about to light you on fire. That's what I was about to say. Thank you guys. You know the help.
And for people wondering, our new names is Sunny Panama 3 and Sat P Nyangi. Oh, I couldn't think of a different last name.
No, we did. We talked about it last week. It's Sit F Nyangi, and the F stands for foundation.
There you go. There you go. The foundation is here, but we want to hear from all of you. We love the interaction with the people watching the Mocha 2.0 review. So WrestleTalk.com/support. Sat, do we got any Mocha chats in the chamber?
Oh, we do. We got two. Do you want me to say it out loud now, or do you want it later?
Yeah, let's hear them now.
All right, let's light them on fire. We got Robzilla saying, hello, you lovely Mocha boys. Little off topic here, but I want to know SP3's top 5 Degrassi moments and his favorite character from the show. Much love from Jamaica. Also, subscribe to True Heel Heat Wrestling because SP3 works super hard. Thank you so much, Robzilla. SP3, answer the darn question.
You're Robzilla. You're the man. Thank you for that so much. I appreciate that. Yes, True Hill Heat. Love it. But as far as my top 5 Degrassi moments, man, you put me on the spot here. My mind is trying to get wrapped around all these different names and those numbers that I gave at the start of the show. But if I had to take off the top of my head, I would go JT getting murdered, which is like one of the saddest moments in television history. I would go Drake getting shot by Rick. Then I would go KC telling Jenna, you told me to play basketball. It's one of the funniest moments in Degrassi history. Shoot, man, this is tough. Top 5. Oh man, those are the 3 that comes to mind automatically. I would go the whole entire Manny, Ashley, and Craig love triangle, the OG love triangle, that comes to mind immediately for me. I can't pinpoint a single moment, but maybe when Ashley slaps him after she finds out that he's having the affair with Manny, that's one of the moments. And Manny's thong, because I was around the same age as her, and I had a huge crush on Manny when I was like 14 years old. So those would be my top 5 Degrassi moments. You put me on the spot, Robzilla. That's the best I could do. Let me know if you watch on demand, if you're watching live, let me know in the comments, or let me know in the live chat if you think that I missed one that I should have named there. But that's the 5 I can think of.
We got a couple more, but I think we'll read it later because, you guys came for the NXT review. We're going to kick it off a little bit. Then, slowly put that in. I'm trying to be serious here today, guys.
Serious Sat.
If I could be serious for a moment, guys.
It's serious, sad time. But yes, let's get into NXT 2.0. The show kicked off with a scan-up shot of our favorite, the American Cream, Busty Rhodes, Yam Yam Bigelow herself, Nikkita Lyons, Wade Barrett with the line of the night for me. He says that Nikkita Lyons is all cake, respectfully. That had me dying laughing for at least a minute afterwards.
You know what? Yeah, Wade Barrett has been on the ball the last few weeks. He's been like the voice, our voice, because he's saying the type of material I would say. He talked about the timeline. Thirsty. Somebody gets that term and saying it out loud correctly. So that was good. So yeah, Nikkita Lyons, Lash legend. This was two horses smacking the heck out of each other. This match was much better than the last match, I must say. And for me personally, I don't know about you, SP3. Personally, that was the best performance I've seen from Nikkita Lyons and Lash Legend. They had a lot to do in the ring, and I love Nikita's savate kick like Haku. She does it like Haku. Like watch Haku matches or Meng matches. Like Nikkita Lyons is like the reincarnation when it comes to super kicks, like Meng, aka Haku. For me, it was match of the night. By the way, it was the best match for me of the night. It was a slugfest. Prove me wrong.
There wasn't a lot of good matches on this show, but still, I think yes, this exceeded my expectations. I wrote that it was a fine match for the level that both ladies are at. Lyons does early on a Luthez press and mounts Legend, but she launches Nikkita off her into the floor in a very hard bump to start out. Some loud talking to each other, though in this matchup, I didn't know Lash asks Lyons if she's are you ready? Like, and then she does like a back like a sunset flip to her. Lash picks up Nikkita up for a power bomb, but she reverses into a Hurricane Rana and then hits her spinning roundhouse kick for the win here. Post match though, this is where it kind of went off the rails for me. Natalya attacks Nikkita Lyons with some of the worst strikes I've ever seen in my life, ladies and gentlemen. And this is Natalya. I'm not talking about Legend. I'm not talking about Lyons. It was just like she just like this. It was some of the worst strikes I've ever seen. But Natty and Legend jump in the Lions together until Cora Jade makes the save, hitting Legend with her skateboard. She misses Natty with the skateboard, and Natty goes for the sharpshooter. But Nikkita kicks Natalya out of the ring, and this sets up a tag team match for next week, the NXT Spring Breaking Special, as it's going to be Natalya and Lash Legend versus Nikkita Lyons and Cora Jade. What did you think about the post match here to set up that tag match?
I feel like Natalya embraced the NXT 2.0 ritual. You dress up like a clique member. Natalya walking down like 2001 Triple H with her leather jacket and the G jacket on top, going in for the punches. For me, I feel like this tag team match that's coming next week is the reason why Professor Natalya is in NXT. She gets the tag with Lash Legend. Lash Legend gets to learn teaming up with a legend like Natalya, who's been great helping out women's wrestlers like Ronda Rousey, just to be brief. And also to give Cora Jade, dynamic dude, Cora Jade with a skateboard, some reps as well in the ring. And it's the biggest match for Nikkita Lyons and Lash Legend. Like they usually do the NXT shows. This is now them being in the forefront, being part of a feud. This I feel like them mixing up inside the core NXT world. What about you?
Yeah, no, I like the combination of Natalya working with Lash Legend. She's gonna learn a lot with just working, being side by side with her, kind of picking her brain, before the match and after the match, what she did wrong, what she did right. And I think that this is gonna be beneficial to Legend. I do agree that this was the best that I don't know if this was the best that Nikkita Lyons looked, because I think she's been consistently very good in everything she's done.
That
in
tornado
NXT.
kick though, that was whack. Usually there's some hesitation when she does the kick, but this was like whack.
I think it's been good over the last couple of weeks, honestly. I think that this was Lash Legend's best match because she came in very green. I know the first match that they had, people were scared of what they were going to offer, and I thought that match exceeded my expectations, but I do agree with you. This match was even better because you could tell she's comfortable working with Lyons, and so I love the improvement for any performers. A lot of these matches on the show felt like developmental matches, but this one you could see the improvement from match to match with both ladies here.
Shout out to whoever is teaching them women's wrestlers, because I feel like the theme will continue, because the tag team match later on, when we get to it, I'm going to give the props to them as well.
Is Sarah Del Rey still there?
Well, let's just say whoever is Cesaro's baby mother that'll confirm it, because I assume she's still around. I haven't heard anything different. You're smiling. He's
I haven't
smiling.
heard anything
He's
different
smiling
either.
because he knows a lot. SP3 is an insider, guys. I just pulled down the curtain. He talks about his love for another show, but deep down, his blood runs deep for the WWE.
Hey, this is the first promotion that I remember watching. Well, yeah, because it came on before WCW Saturday Night. It was on in the mornings on Saturday when my grandma used to watch it. But moving on, we went backstage and we saw my guy Tony D. Tony D is here, and he says, "Oh, Paisan, how's everybody doing?" Tony says he was supposed to face Zion Quinn, but now he has Mr. Silver Tongue himself, Von Wagner, and Tony D says he will be sleeping with the fishes, and Santos knows what he's talking about. Of course, that would lead into the opening match, but before we got there, we got a couple of more backstage stuff. We went backstage to the Diamond Mine gym where Roger Strong is showing tough love to Diamond Mine. Strong basically talks down to the Creed brothers, saying it doesn't matter how many matches they went to, how close. They've gotten 2 opportunities at the NXT tag team titles and didn't come away with the gold. So he has set up a tag team match for next week's spring breaking special against a former NXT tag team champions, and he introduces the Viking Raiders, who are here tonight. They're gonna have a matchup which we will get into, and Malcolm Bivens throughout this whole entire thing did not seem pleased at all. He smelled like he smelled one of my son or daughter's diapers. He was not pleased. What did you think about this segment?
It's quite awkward when inside the Diamond Mine, the one with the worst win-loss records is shining in your face, and you really want to tell them, when's the last time you won a match this month? You know what I'm saying? Because
that's what I wanted. I wanted Ivy or the Crees to say that to him. Like, are you serious, bro? You the one that's lost the most matches here.
So SP, the chat, let's talk about this. Do we see a Diamond Mine coup? Because I feel like the story can go one or two ways, where this tough love creates an even more tougher, aggressive Diamond Mine, or certain wrestlers that's either existing in NXT already are not in a group can come in and take over. Like the fact that Fabian Eichner is not a Goomba. Fabian Eichner can come over and take over Diamond Mine, because no offense to Roddy Strong, WWE is allergic to people that's close to 40, at 40, or over 40 in NXT. So Roddy Strong is doing a great job, you know, with the wrestlers at NXT UK and with Diamond Mine people, but he lost so much to the point his credibility as the boss is shot because SP3 thinks Malcolm Bivens is the boss for that. One of that reasons. Yeah, one of that reasons.
I don't just think he is the boss. I think he should be the boss, because at least he hasn't lost to everybody since the month of January. Like, since the whole title unification where he lost the Cruiserweight Championship to Carmelo Hayes. I don't remember the last time Roderick Strong won a match. He lost to Walter. He lost in a 6-man with the Creeds. Rarely when the Creeds were losing back then. He lost to Ilya Dragunov. He lost in the 3-way. He lost to Solo Sikoa. He's lost. I
swear he's won this year. I can promise you that. But also, guys, can we discuss? Does Tony D'Angelo say sand toes or sand toast? Because when he says the name of my guy, I was like, is it Santos? Is he trying to say Santos? Because he goes Santos. Santos?
Santos.
Sand on his toes? I'm not too sure. But yeah, there's going to be a coup. I can see someone else usurping, not in a group, but outside the group, taking over. I feel like that's where it's going.
Yeah, I hope that's where it's going, because Roderick Strong has zero credibility at this point.
No,
I don't understand how he's talking down to my boys, the Creeds. We got a quick little recap before we get into the opener of the next matchup of Joe Gacy and Braun Breaker from last week with the Druids. We hear that Braun Breaker suffered an injury due to the, as we called it, the Braun Hub Circle of Druids. We will get an update on the NXT title match for next week from Gacy at the end of the show. So yes, you will get another edition of SP Gacy, as I will reenact Joe Gacy's main event promo, ladies and gentlemen. Main event.
You know what? Can we just stop having Joe Gacy promos so I don't have to sit for it twice? Once with Joe Gacy and the other one with this guy who decided to be a method actor because he's from New York. Get that stinking face off the screen. I'm getting, yeah. Okay, next. Let's go to the next part. Moving on swiftly.
Tony D'Angelo versus Von Wagner with not Robert Stone, but Mr. Stone now, since Robert is his real name. He will no longer be Robert Stone. He is Mr. Stone now. This was strange because I was wondering from the very start of this matchup and when it was announced, who's the babyface here? But as the match progressed, we saw that Tony D was kind of playing the babyface role in this matchup. We even got some Tony chants from the CWC crowd during his entrance. Wagner gets control before the break with a back suplex on the apron. Von Wagner, I had to make note of this. He works exactly like Jake Hager without the sudden burst of athleticism or energy. I can't even say Jack Swagger because when Jack Swagger first started out, he was actually a pretty good performer and it was fun to see him. He was like a very tall kind of Kurt Angle in his first year, but this is not even Jack Swagger. This is Jake Hager just without the sudden bursts of athleticism, energy, or power. He even hits the Hager spine buster where he lifts you up by the gut wrench and then pulls you down. The show returns from break and Tony D makes a comeback and hits a belly-to-belly suplex. We saw a little bit of the amateur background from Tony D in this matchup. He then busts out an exploder. Wagner catches him with a clothesline. Eventually, Tony D falls to the outside. At that point, Legado del Fantasma, Cruz del Toro, and Joaquin Wild come up on the apron and distract the referee. But the wise guys take them off the apron, stare them down as they go up the entranceway. While all of this is going on, Santos Escobar comes from behind and hits Tony D with a crowbar in the leg, getting revenge from last week. Tony D breaks the referee's 10 count, does not get counted out, despite Mr. Stone telling him, just stay down. And then Wagner hits him with the big boot in the ring for the win. Von Wagner was arguably one of his biggest wins to date outside of his win over Kyle O'Reilly before he left. And I thought that this was okay. This was fine for what it was, but both guys, don't have much experience. And this was interesting, at least with Tony D playing more of a babyface role, but I don't understand how a Chicago mobster is supposed to be the babyface.
So basically, Michael Hickenbottom, Book of the Year. He does not follow any booking logic. He's not like his friend Paul Levesque, who has a lot of NWA influences. What influenced HBK is not getting fired by Vince McMahon. So he just makes things on the spot and hopes it goes well. The beneficial part of this booking is we don't get a lot of rematches, a lot of stale storylines. We're kept on our toes. Heck, I don't even know what's going to happen next week because Michael Hickenbottom is Book of the Year. What I've noticed in NXT 2.0 is when you get two wrestlers, especially two rookie wrestlers, one will be progressing further than the other. So when Tony D was wrestling, we had offensive flurries of suplexes, which I really enjoyed. And then when Von Wagner wrestled, he had a lumbering, slow style. His big boot looks awkward. His Samoan drop looks a bit awkward. He looks very Snitsky-like lumbering in the ring. But when Tony D picks up the occasion, he's very quick in the ring, and he had some nice baby face fire. He didn't lean into it too much because it ruined his character. But I enjoyed the match when Tony D was wrestling. When Von Wagner interfered and he's slowing the match down, I grew a little bit bored.
He's very bland. And I think Rob in the chat put it best. He's the Wish.com Jake Hager. Wish.com Jake Hager going on there. So I tried, like I said, I tried to get into this matchup, but it was just kind of there.
Give his push to Josh Briggs. That is someone who's of a similar build, doing so much better. How you be 6'5" and you're boring in the ring? Get the F out.
Hey, there's not a lot of guys who can be 6'5" and be a great worker. One of them, I know he doesn't have the best background outside the ring, but Moose is great, and he had a great match with Josh Alexander at Impact Rebellion. I just want to mention that match was fantastic. But he works like a big man. Von Wagner, you could tell he's just not that experienced yet, and he just needs more time and needs to find out how to work like a big man. Hopefully, Kevin Nash can visit his friend Michael Hickenbottom and help him.
No, he's got a dad. How you be second generation and struggle like that? That's a shame to the Beverly brothers' name.
Even though that's not their real name.
That is their name.
Backstage, Indy and Persia are congratulating Roxanne Perez for her win last week. Toxic Attraction interrupts and talks down to Roxanne, and Perez challenges the NXT Women's Champion Mandy Rose to a match tonight, which she accepts. So that sets up for the match later, which ironically enough is kind of our main event of tonight, which we'll get into. But next we had Nathan Frazier vignette, and his debut is next. Before we get to that matchup, we had a couple of segments here where they had Briggs and Jensen are with Fallon Henley, and they're talking about tonight's 6-person tag team matchup. And Sophia Cromwell walks through to distract Jensen, who of course is still horny and still a loser. So Briggs tells him to get his mind back on the match, but that look, that staring at Sophia Cromwell would come back to haunt him. Then we get into the Nathan Frazier debut. He comes out for his debut, but before the match can even start, Grayson Waller comes through. He attacks Nathan Frazier's opponent. He says that this is his NXT. In the crowd is Chase U, about to watch Nathan Frazier's debut, and Waller starts talking trash about Chase U. He says he doesn't need Sanka the Thunder. He says Chase U is not a real school, and before he can even finish, Frazier comes in with a springboard dropkick on Waller and drop kicks him out of the ring, and then hits a crazy tope suicida, almost falls like this. He was like a rocket. He was trying to do his best Darby Allin impersonation. It was a great suicide dive, and then Chase U seems to accept Nathan Frazier into their ranks after this. So and then Andre Chase tells him this is a teachable moment. So what do you think about Nathan Frazier's debut, not debut match, but debut on NXT 2.0, and this kind of association with him and Chase U?
Don't make association. Induct him. That guy needs lessons on charisma. He's got everything going for him. He's A+ in the ring. High flying. That was a torpedo-like shot. You're right. He nearly ripped through space and time when he went through. He did that suicide tope suicida. An association with Chase U would help him develop some flavor. Because no offense, without them, I see this guy floundering, because either he gets into a forgettable tag team with A Kid, or he's gonna flounder. An association with Chase U is a positive. One of my 2 favorite lines from Grayson Waller. Number 1, Willy Wonka haircut to Nathan Frazier. Love that. You and your Willy Wonka, love that. The other one that I liked was that Chase U sorority girls are built like refrigerators.
Where does this stuff come from, Sat? I didn't even see. What girl are you talking about?
No, Grayson Waller said it in a promo.
Oh, yes,
when
yes,
he goes,
yes, right.
I went to a Chase U tailgate. Your sorority girls are built like refrigerators. Yeah, I'm typing that down. That's actually makes me laugh. And you with your Willy Wonka haircut, if you don't shut up. I was like, Grayson Waller had great hot bars. And yeah. So now I get it now. So Grayson Waller's doing Triple H. You dump the butler that is Mr. Hughes and you get yourself a female.
There you go. There you go. Yes. Before we got to that backstage segment, which you're referring to, commentary hypes up NXT Spring Breaking next week. And they also announced that in 2 weeks, we got the NXT Breakout Tournament, like we talked about before. At that point, that's when we get the vignette on Ariana Grace, the former Bianca Corelli, the daughter of Santina Marella. Of course, they didn't mention any of that because second generation superstars don't exist in NXT 2.0 unless they get inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Bingo. See, he's on the ball. You and I, we need to be more serious.
Backstage, we go into that interview segment you were talking about, Sat, where Mackenzie is interviewing Tiffany Stratton. She calls out Saray for pulling her hair 3 times last week, and then Grayson Waller interrupts to talk trash about Nathan Frazier. Tiffany Stratton also talks trash about Frazier and says that he has a horrible accent, and Waller says he hates anyone with an accent. And before Mackenzie can point out that Grayson also has an accent, Tiffany interrupts and says, "You're so rude," and they agree that Mackenzie is so rude, and it seems like Waller and Stratton are bonding and will now be associated. I think that this is heel money written all over it. I think that this can work extremely well.
Okay, I don't have memory loss. So guys, do you remember there used to be a thing where Tiffany Stratton wouldn't show her face? That was like a thing.
when she was doing the vignettes. Yeah.
Exactly. And if you do remember, guys, going back when LA Knight was a character within the NXT universe, LA Knight had a car which was hijacked by Grayson Waller. Who was in that car? You're darn straight, Tiffany Stratton. So it's not the first time they're bonding. They've done known each other. I think they now like bond even more, and it's a thing. Verbiage I took away from Tiffany Stratton. Tiffany Stratton said that Nathan Frazier's hair is like straw. He looks like a homeless man, and he has a terrible accent.
I loved Grayson Waller saying, "I hate anyone who has an accent." with his heavy Australian accent, it was great.
But the thing is, if you go to Australia, he doesn't have an Australian accent. He just has verbiage because it's not an accent. He just has a way of talking. So it's not his fault that he supplanted himself from another country, and to them, that's an accent. Geography, guys. You know what I'm saying? SP3 is now in the UK. According to people in the UK, SP3 has an American accent. According to SP3, he speaks American.
No, I speak New York. I have a New York. There's a specific New York accent.
You're right. I'm still trying to find out what axe means, but I'll ask you off air.
Awesome. We get next our tag team action with the newly christened Katana Chance and Kayden Carter versus Yulisa Lyons and Valentina Feroz. Commentary talks about Carter and Chance being the perennial team that has potential, but when is it time for potential to equal results? Asks Wade Barrett. The CW fans start chanting Katana, so the name change works for the CWC, ladies and gentlemen.
I love it. Cats and Zaro, I still struggle with that. I was never fluid with saying that. There's just too many Z's and too many A's and too many R's and the O's. For me, Katana Chance, for me, she's the second most athletic person within the WWE sphere behind Bianca Belair. She's got everything it takes to be a star. This tag team, for me, is holding her back. For the simple fact, if you think about it, Kayden and Katana have been a team longer than any female team currently in NXT. And what have they achieved so far in the nearly 3 years they've been together? Zero, zilch, nada.
But I think there's potential there in the fact that they have been together so long and they've never gotten a shot at the NXT Women's Tag Team titles. So they can kind of tell a story similar to Johnny Gargano going after the NXT Championship or Sami Zayn going after the NXT Championship with these NXT Women's Tag Team titles. The NXT Women's Tag Team titles, I said it once, I'll say it again. They are the most useless titles in all of WWE. So
yes, boy.
At least they have potential here if they use Chance and Carter. If this is the start of a renewed push now that she has a new name, I hope it is so, because then we can finally get a story being told with them finally, reaching their potential and beating Toxic Attraction for those titles.
But the thing is, I feel like the tag team has potential, true. But they've been together for such a long time, haven't achieved enough. Vince McMahon should come down and get bored and just break them up randomly, because Katana Chance could be the champion of the division right now. She's got a lot of potential. I like Kayden Carter too. This match was good. Yulisa Lyons, I'm a huge fan of her gyration. She has some gigolo Jimmy Del Rey gyrations in the ring, and I enjoyed it and I loved it. Like, they should show more of these women. Valentina Feroz. Excuse me if I'm butchering the name. The tag team match was good. It was a good coming out party for the new tag team over there. K&K, they should get the tag titles from Toxic Attraction, because they're the only tag team going at the moment.
They're the longest tag team, and they've not even gotten a shot. Everyone gets a shot at those NXT Women's Tag Team titles. You know how you get a shot? By being a tag team. That's all you have to do. You can have been enemies for months, like Dakota Kai and Raquel Rodriguez, and you could just reunite, and within days you can get a shot at the women's tag team titles in NXT. So it is about time that Chance and Carter get their shot. I thought Lyons looked really good in this one. She had a nice showed some nice power with a gorilla pressing Feroz onto Carter for a
love that.
Yes. after she misses a lion salt, Chance and Carter get the win with their neck breaker 450 splash combination, which is the best tag team finisher in. I think it's the best tag team finisher on NXT, even with the men's or the women. I think this is the best finisher that's out there. This was a decent showcase for Katana and Kayden, and like I said, I want them to win the NXT Women's Tag Team titles now.
SP, I think K&K should be heels because they kind of played the heels in the match a bit. They had a little bit of a cocky swagger, like the whole veteran. I've been here longer than you. I should, get a spot. Because they start acting like baby faces when they won, but during the match, it seemed like they were playing the heel in the match. They were cutting the ring in half, and they were kind of like.
Basically, from their entrance, even because for a second when they first hit the entrance, I thought this was MSK coming out. I think what they're really trying to go for is they're the female MSK. That's what the entrance is. It's the same color theme as the entrance. It's the same type of energy, but I think they play good baby faces. They played good heels in this matchup, but I think they're better suited as baby faces.
Okay, if they have to continue not accomplishing anything, yeah, sure, B faces.
This guy, not a believer. You need to believe in Katana Chance.
Give Katana by herself
a chance.
Give Katana a chance by herself. Indeed. Michael Hickenbottom, if you're hearing this, Katana Chance should dethrone Mandy Rose.
I'm sorry. I would put so many other females ahead of her, including the
Roxanne,
woman that faked, Mandy Rose, Roxanne. Backstage we see that Brooks Jensen has been jumped. Briggs is pissed. Something bad. Horrible over-the-top acting by Josh Briggs here. I think, but I even said in my notes, even before it was revealed later, I said, I think Wagner jumped him for looking at his woman. That's what I put in my notes.
I ain't gonna lie, I was a bit slow because when Brooks Jensen saw the woman, I put Sophia question mark because I still don't know her. I only know her from a distance, so I'm still getting used to her face. She seemed to have more charisma this week than when she was pointing in the ring. Think about this. Von Wagner does not need two managers. I think Mr. Stone is going to get his walking papers with Von Wagner. I'm just putting out there.
Not. There's a lot of people on the main roster that needs a manager. I'd rather Mr.
No, I meant that association. I meant that because it seems like she holds the key. She's like Abyss, click, Doomsday, that kind of vibe.
Yeah, and that is a good shout there by Ace that Carter and Chance's finisher is basically skull and bones by the Motor City Machine Guns, but that 450 makes it a little bit better. But next that's when we get the Kaylee Ray vignette explaining her new name, Alba Fire. I just put ugh to that. I'm sorry though, it was too over the top with the I represent fire and then the bat goes on fire. I was just like,
Scott, gimmick. Everyone needs a gimmick. Come on, this is WWE 101. If you don't have a gimmick, you're just a wrestler.
I mean, it works for AEW. Legado
What's that? What's that? Look, WWE's competition is Raw and SmackDown. They compete against each other.
No. Court documents say their competition is AEW. Legado del
Fantasma. That's not kayfabe, though. That's not kayfabe, though. Don't break kayfabe.
That's official. Legado del Fantasma came out for their 6-person tag, but of course, since Brooks Jensen is injured, it became a 3-on-2 handicap match with Josh Briggs and Fallon Henley versus LDF. Briggs and Henley jump Legado before the bell. Legado neutralizes Briggs by attacking the big man's leg. Mr. Stone comes to commentary and says, like Ike Manjiro had wandering eyes, so did Brooks Jensen, so do the math. And I just put, I was right.
Congratulations, because it didn't pop into my head. I was hoping that Josh Briggs was turning heel, that he attacked him.
Nah, that wouldn't make sense just yet. You just want random heel turns and stuff. You want TNA 2008 book.
No, me and Vince McMahon agree that some people are miscast as babyface and heels. I think Josh Briggs, final Evolve champion, should exist by himself. He should have Mr. Stone as his manager. There you go. Problem solved.
You just gave Mr. Stone a new client, so
Yes.
congratulations, Mr. Stone. A lot of brawling between Lopez and Henley. They go into the back with their brawl, leaving Briggs alone with Del Toro and Wild. Del Toro and Wild hit the jumping kick, Russian leg sweep combination for the win. I just said this match was kind of just there. I didn't see the point in this because Santos has this whole La Familia versus the family rivalry, and this just whole thing with Brooks and Jensen and Henley feels out of place. Hopefully, we get Henley and Lopez in a blow off match because they seem to be having their rivalry, but this whole Brooks and Jensen needed to end here. So I'm glad Legado got the win.
Let's not forget it's Fallon Henley in that backstage program. She was like, she was trying to get psyched up as well. Bless her. Josh Briggs has a kind of hype that you can't fake it to get there. You have to generally believe that segment because she wasn't really feeling it. That's Fallon Henley for you. But yeah, I want him to fight as well. This match is more of an angle than an actual match. That's why I see it. It's more to further the story along, which is to portray Von Wagner unconvincingly as a tough guy. See, what Von Wagner is a lumbering fool, not a sadistic monster. There's a difference. There's a buffoon and there's a monster. He's a buffoon.
Wish.com, Jake Hager. Backstage, Mackenzie interviews Natalya and Lash Legend. Natalya says next week she will break Cora Jay's legs. She will put the women's locker room on notice. But one woman that she did notice was Lash Legend. I thought that was a nice line to put over Legend. And Legend says that, they will win next week and she will take that momentum into the breakout tournament, which she will be in. So early predictions. Who do you think? We saw a couple of vignettes. We also, this was like right before we got the Kiana James says that she is bringing sophistication to the breakout tournament and she works in the corporate world and now comes to NXT, the former Kaylee Inlay. So what do you think? Who's your early prediction for the breakout tournament? Because you know who I'm going for.
Ariana Grace.
No, Nikkita Lyons. Nikkita Lyons is winning the breakout tournament.
Wait, is Nikkita in the tournament?
I would guess because Lash Legend is in it. I don't understand how Nikkita Lyons wouldn't be in it. Yeah, Lash Legend says she's in the breakout tournament.
I was writing down notes. I might have not been paying attention. But yeah, okay. Fine. Yeah, if Nikkita Lyons is in, because SP3, he fancies himself as an analytical mind, which he is. I can't dispute it. I got receipts. I agree with you, man. I'd rather go to SP3 than make a guess and look like a fool.
I mean, I'll go my other one. The dark horse would be Roxanne Perez, of course. She's like
Roxanne too.
She's the best. She's the best. I would think that she's only been here for 2 weeks. She should be in the breakout.
She had a title match. She's a veteran now. After two matches.
Wasn't a title. That was a non-title match. Sorry,
championship contender, whatever they call it nowadays. But yeah, Roxanne
that only exists on Mondays and Fridays. It doesn't exist on Tuesdays.
Roxanne is so great as a wrestler. She just exposes how mediocre certain wrestlers are.
We'll get into that for sure. Next we had Solo Sikoa versus Trick Williams.
That's not his name. Say it properly. Solo
Sikoa. North American champion Cameron Grimes comes for commentary. Trick, this is the usual Trick Williams offense here. The stomps, the rest holds, the chin locks. He gets an early advantage by working over Solo's injured shoulder, but Sikoa then hits a shoulder block and starts working on Trick's shoulder. Cameron Grimes calls Trick the star of his team, but he has to get away from Hayes. So I don't know if this was kind of sowing the seeds because I was like, no, don't take away my favorite duo on this show, please. Come on, don't do this to me.
So the thing is, SP3, you point out something that he's very kicky and punchy. He tries to do side kicks where he ends up using his thighs or his butt in your face because he mistimes the side kick. So I wrote down this. Trick does a nice flip over escape from the chain wrestling. That's the only cool thing he done in that match. He does basic moves okay, like working on his shoulder, but he hasn't gone past his comfort zone. So for that reason, I can't gauge whether he's good or bad. He's just inoffensive. He did a nice drop kick, though. That was a highlight. He did a nice drop kick in the match. But besides that, he doesn't go past first gear, which is basic chin lock, chain wrestling. That's like what you learn in day one class in the performance center, allegedly. And you should be progressing far. You should be doing suplexes, superplex from the top rope. I can argue the Lash Legend is more progressed in the ring than he is. And Nikkita Lyons more progressed
But Lash Legend does not have the charisma of Trick Williams. Don't. I will not accept any Trick Williams slander. He is
in the ring. Yes, in the
he is
ring.
so
Let's keep it
great
in the ring.
as a character and on the mic that I'm willing to accept that he's not there yet. He's very green in the ring. But Sikoa catches a spinning heel kick and reverses it into a back suplex. Solo makes his comeback, hits the Samoan drop, and then the Uso splash for the win. Not bad at all. It was fine. Solo kind of controlled things. He was the ring general in this one. Post-match, Grimes gets in the ring and he stares down with Solo. They talk trash to each other. However, Carmelo Hayes pushes Sikoa out of the way, and then he goes for a super kick on Hayes, I think, but Hayes moves and he hits Grimes, and that ends the segment here. What do you think? Who's your early prediction for this triple threat next week?
Because they did the father storyline, I can see them just rectifying it and going back to our boy, the A champion, Carmelo Hayes. But also, at the same time, let's talk about that super kick. I have not seen a super kick that great in 20 years, because that super kick, you may think I'm exaggerating. Everybody does the Shawn
You're
Michaels
exaggerating.
Super kick. No. Okay. Cameron Grimes, how did he take that super kick? That was like a cannonball shot in his chest. He went poof. SP, go back and watch that. That super kick, he
Matt
flew.
Jackson to Sammy Guevara on the springboard was better.
The one where he bends
when
him.
He died. When he
bends him.
When Sammy bends in half and dies.
He had the help of the ropes. I'm saying no ropes, no gimmicks, gravity, and the foot. The foot to the face won. He didn't launch himself from ropes. He didn't need extra additives. Okay?
Haku was better. His thrust kick.
I said in 20 years. I'm saying, yes, Solo Sikoa gave the best super kick. You go take both of their super kicks and you tell me which one is worse.
We'll see, side by side. We'll ask the mods to do a poll. Was that the best super kick they've seen, that the viewers watching has seen in 20 years, from Solo Sikoa?
That was the best super kick since Jamal did that super kick on the HLA lady. Poof! You know which one I'm talking about?
Yes,
you know
Yes, I do. When 3-minute warning interrupted HLA. Next, we had a scene right out of Cool Runnings as Idris Enofe is trying to give Malik Blade a pep talk before their match with the Viking Raiders, because all we need is another babyface who lacks confidence and is a loser. Enofe goes into full Brenner from Cool Runnings mode for Blade, and he tells him, "I see a man with heart. I see a man with speed. I see a man with power. I see a badass who ain't afraid of no man." And Enofe gets the passion and the determination out of Blade. He shows some passion and they head off into their matchup. I thought this was a nice ode to Cool Runnings, my favorite scene with Brenner and Junior.
I really like it. Felt like a UPN sitcom. Like they have that chemistry. They have like I enjoy them together. Like initially, them individually, they had a ceiling. But I feel like as a tag team, if Michael Hickenbottom invest in them, they can do. I like that scene already. Like it could be. You can construe it as annoying, but it was a way. I feel like Michael Hickenbottom is trying to get charisma at everyone. He's gonna make sure you're all gonna get charisma. And also, because I know we like to say black, we like to pretend mocha is like the term for black, right? It was like a mocha sitcom between them two.
UPN, underpaid Negroes. Backstage, Legado del Fantasma are Legado del Fantasma are happy with themselves. Legado del Fantasma are happy with themselves after their win tonight. Santos is happy about sending that message to Tony D earlier, and they head off for the night. We then get into our next match, which is the Viking Raiders versus Idris Enofe and Malik Blade. Enofe shows off some great athleticism by standing on Eric's back and hitting a drop kick. Raiders get the advantage though. Eric hits a stiff knee to the face of Enofe, knocking him loopy. At this point, Vic Joseph quotes Eminem's "Lose Yourself" and says, "You only get one shot to seize everything you ever wanted." As Enofe and Blade make their comeback, I thought that was random as hell, so I had to note that. Eric hits a sick full Nelson into a knee to the back of the head on Enofe, and then the Raiders hit a double team elevated power bomb for the win. I thought this was the best match on the show. The Viking Raiders is the best they have looked in like 2 or 3 years since they won the Raw tag team titles on the main roster. Nice little match to showcase them ahead of next week, which I am looking forward to. Viking Raiders versus the Creed brothers. Post match, we get the Raiders who shake Enofe and Blade's hand, putting them over a little bit for their effort here, and the Creeds then come to the entranceway to stare down with Viking Raiders ahead of spring breaking. What did you think of this one?
I feel like it was more of a showcase for Idris Enofe and Malik Blade, to be honest, because we don't often see them in the ring as much. They're always doing backstage segments or being Toxic Attractions, bodyguard, security guard, lover boys, or whatever. So it was great to actually see them in the ring for a change, and they for me showed a lot of potential. All they need is a tag team name, or some believable swag in themselves. Because one, it just Enofe for me, he's already a guy, he's already a star. Malik Blade, don't stop portraying him as a dweeb. Let both of them be cool guys. They can both be cool at the same time. So SP3, you're a huge wrestling fan, especially with ROH. You know War Machines or Viking Raiders better than most people, better than myself. Because I'm one of those people during that time period. I watched a handful of their matches before they signed to the WWE. So you know this more. Before they signed to the WWE, would you say that the Viking Raiders were in the top 5 best tag teams in the world? Would you have said that? Would you?
I wouldn't go top 5. I would put them in the top 10 for sure. They were one of the best tag teams in the world. I mean, they had a bunch of competition in ROH at the time because you
Right.
had the Young Bucks, you had the Briscoes, who for over the past like 15 years, those two have been in the top 3, top 5 tag teams. So they had those guys, but they were right up there with them. So they were in that top 3 in ROH before they came to WWE.
Would you argue since signing with WWE, they've fallen from top 10 to probably top 50, top 15 or top 20 since they've signed with WWE because they haven't really done
Because they
as
haven't gave them a chance. But this is something that happens to everybody, because I actually did, you can check out WrestleTalk.com. I did top 10 best tag teams in the world today. And one of my biggest nitpicks to the number one choice, FTR, Cash Wheeler, and Dax Harwood, was when they came to AEW, I felt that they were still living off of their rep from 2016, 2017 on NXT. When the Viking Raiders were on NXT, they were arguably one of the best tag teams in all of WWE and one of the best tag teams in the world. They would be in my top 10. But when you go to that main roster, it's like devoid. You just lose out. It doesn't matter if you verse some of the other great tag teams like the Usos, like the New Day, that have been the top 2 tag teams in the main roster tag team division for the past 5, 6, 7 years. Even if you verse them, you don't get the opportunity to have these great matches like you did in NXT. They're not going to have the type of matches that they had against Undisputed Era and stuff like that. That's why I liked Roger Strong being the one to bring Viking Raiders back to NXT, because he lost the NXT tag team titles to the Viking Raiders back in 2019. See, I know my memory stuff, but that's when they were really good. When they're on the main roster, they don't get that opportunity. They had a whole feud with the Street Profits, who they can definitely have a great match with, and they were fighting ninjas in the parking lot. Like, they don't give these guys the opportunity to be one of those top tag teams.
Ninja. What are you saying? Uh, I agree with you. Is like Viking Raiders could be beneficial to the main roster, but they become such a non-factor that it almost comes to a point where you can almost forget how good they can be in the ring. And even in this tag team match, they did some great rough and tough stuff. I still saw it as Idris Enofe and Malik Blade standing out in this match for me. It felt like more of a showcase for them, even though it's Viking Raiders wrestling spring breaking.
And a great shout here by Frob the Legend, saying Viking Raiders used to be undefeated in NXT. They never lost the NXT tag team titles. They actually relinquished them before they got called up. If you remember the whole Viking experience when they first got called up to the main roster, they just gave up the tag team titles, and then they had the ladder match that eventually Street Profits won the tag team titles. So yeah, this is one of the teams or one of the acts on the main roster that would be so much better if they just got sent to NXT full time. They could really help out that whole tag team division and elevate them. I would love to see them against the Pretty Deadly. I would love to see them against Legado del Fantasma next week against the Creed brothers. I think that's going to be one of the best matches, that and the triple threat on spring break, and I'm really looking forward to.
And the positive is there are a couple of Jim the Anvil Nighthearts. There's no breakouts between them.
No, don't sleep on my boy Hanson, now Ivar. He's really good. He has scary. He has Scary
Bam Bam
athletic.
Bigelow, I know that. I'm just saying that, Vince McMahon be like, lose weight, so let's not
Yeah,
get too twisted,
that's true. That
Both
is
guys, that's the ceiling. Keep them as a tag team. Don't break him up. No handsome Ivo, handsome Hanson, whatever his name is, Rowan Hanson Ransom. Anyway, moving on swiftly.
We got a Wes Lee vignette at a beach. He's talking about the journey back to the tag team titles and then having them taken away. Lee says he can complain or he can make waves as he stand at the beach and the waves hit him. That was like nice and dramatic. I'm hoping they do something with Wes Lee because he's been a big victim of the firing of Nash Carter.
Yeah, I'm trying to understand if you're trying to veer away from a certain topic.
Why are you bringing him up? He says that tag team partner was very special. Like,
What is your tag team partner's name? Like, I'm blanking on the tag team partner's name. So when he brings him up, I'm peaked. My interest is peaked because my memory is lost. So I'm trying to remember. Wes Lee was a tag team champion. Yet when they showed like highlight clips, there's barely any action. Why?
they
Why?
they were showing double teams without showing Nash Carter. It was like what type of edit was this?
Show me you can show stuff without showing stuff.
It was very weird. It was very weird how they did that. But hey, as long as Wes Lee he gets something out of this and they push him in a way, or he at least just give him an opportunity to have some great matches on Tuesday nights. I would love that.
Michael Hickenbottom looks at smaller guys and he goes, hey, 1, 2, 3, kid, I'm going to book you exactly the same way. So expect a losing streak. Despite all the vignettes, despite all these inspirational talk pieces, all these TED talk pieces, he's going to come back next week and probably lose in 2 seconds to my boy, Exion Quinn.
Exion Quinn. Backstage, Mackenzie interviews Tony D'Angelo. Tony D, who was actually supposed to verse Exion Quinn on this show, but Zion was not medically cleared ahead of the show. Tony D, though, is pissed at Legado del Fantasma for costing him the win, and he finally introduces his wise guys, who will be known as Troy Two Dimes Donovan and Shannon Lorenzo, or as I call them on the streets, Stacks. Tony D wants a sit-down meeting with Santos Escobar next week on Spring Breaking before things get out of hand. What do you think about his two wise guys, Troy Two Dimes Donovan and Channing Lorenzo, aka Stacks?
Guys, if you've been following NXT 2.0 review for the last few weeks, you know what Sati has been wanting for weeks, months. I've been asking for Tony D to have some crew, to have some backup. How can you be a Don and have no one watching your back? How can you be a Don, have no one driving you around? How can you be a Don if you can't pull out hits? And guess what, guys? He's got a couple of the least intimidating guys I've ever seen in my life. Typical WWE. They give you what you want, kinda. So I saw them. I was like, you ain't Italian. You Justin Bieber looking mofo. You ain't Italian. Go get a cheeseburger. But yeah, I'll make do with the scraps that's given to me. Anyway.
And next we had our main event matchup, as it was the NXT Women's Champion Mandy Rose going one-on-one with Roxanne Perez, who picked up the victory over JC Jane last week. Rose dominates early, but Roxanne gets the advantage by biting Mandy's hand. Wade Barrett reveals that he pays for Mandy's manicure sometimes. I thought that was her pedicure sometimes. He says, and Roxanne then smashes Rose's hand on the steel steps before the break. Back from commercial, Mandy is working over Perez. She hits a slingshot into the top rope for a 2 count. Roxanne makes her come back, and my God, Roxanne Perez is just so much better than almost all the women and even some of the men on this show. Like, she is only 20 years old, but she is like experienced beyond her years. She makes her come back. She hits a handstand moonsault for a 2 count. Perez then goes for the code rock, but Mandy blocks. She gets a couple of near falls on Rose, and then Mandy catches her with the jumping knee for the win. I thought that this was a pretty good showcase for Roxanne Perez, but Mandy gets another win. And then post-match, we get Wendy Chu, who is trying to super soak that Wendy Chu. But Toxic Attraction escapes before they can get soaked. Wendy then presses a button. Like we are on another episode of Home Alone, and a small net falls down on Toxic Attraction. This does nothing. They take the net off, but when they take the net off, Chu and Perez then spray them with silly string. This show is just all over the place. I know you're trying to go for a wide audience, so you got your Nikkita Lyons at the beginning of the show for the adult males, and then this just felt like a segment for some 9-year-olds. This felt like something that my 2-year-olds would get into, but I wasn't feeling too much.
SP, are you saying the Wendy, Chu, and Roxanne squirted all over Toxic Attraction?
No, they sprayed silly string.
They
Sprayed
squirted.
They
Did
sprayed
there's
silly.
something just come out of the hole that they're holding? No. Anyway, moving on swiftly. In the match, Roxanne Perez is the best women's wrestler in the entire NXT 2.0. She could go to the main roster tomorrow and wouldn't be out of place. Booker T should be teaching, doing a masterclass, because this is a prodigy. Roxanne Perez, the way she's fluid in the ring, the way her snap is snap. Like when I see her wrestle, it's almost like a breath of fresh air. I'm like, oh, that's what wrestling is. Because no offense to Mandy Rose, she's been there for a long time, but she's a product of the system. She's still a bit clunky with her movement, with her changes. But when Roxanne does it, from the victory roll, from the helicopter head scissors, from like the deep arm drags, like when I'm watching, I'm like, mwah, fantastic wrestling. Put her with Natalya. Give me 30 minutes of Natalya versus Roxanne Perez, and I'll be the happiest person for 24 hours.
Man, I thought the same thing. I was like, she should be in Chorus J's position. She should be the one that they're kind of grooming to be the face of the division
It
more
could
than
be.
Cora. Yeah.
They could be. It could be course correction. Maybe they see that Cora is not ready yet for the position that's needed. That's where they went cold feet. So now they got Roxanne Perez, who doesn't need any prep work. They just need to work on her not being so much of a dweeb-ish. Because I know what they're going for. They're like, this is another Daniel Bryan. She's 5'1". Because even when she's standing next to Indy and Persia, my goodness, that match would be great one day. To see the height difference when she's talking to them. I'm like 5'1", same height as like Alexa Bliss and Nikki ASH. But Roxanne is incredible.
I know I named both of them for the breakout tournament, but I would love that in the finals. Nikkita Lyons versus Roxanne Perez. Give me that for the women's breakout tournament finals.
Give me
money. That's money. That would be Nikkita Lyons' best match. We get Sloane Jacobs, who's even younger than Roxanne Perez, and she's 19 years old, the former Notorious Mimi, but learned how to fight from her 2 older sisters. She will also be in the women's breakout tournament. And then we go backstage to see the Circle of Druids, and from the middle emerges Joe Gacy, who says, let's go change the world. They confirmed these matches for next week's Spring Breaking. Natalya and Lash Legend versus Cora Jade and Nikkita Lyons. You also got Nathan Frazier versus Grayson Waller. The Creed brothers versus Viking Raiders. Cameron Grimes versus Carmelo Hayes versus Solo Sikoa for the North American Championship. Tony D'Angelo and Santos Escobar in a sit-down meeting. And, of course, the main event, Braun Breaker versus my guy, the best character on NXT.
SP3, before we begin, can you tell the chat that there's no one named Kaylee Ray in NXT? Alba Fire, she's a great wrestler, but there's no Kaylee Ray, guys. Oh no, you're about to do the promo.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm in Joe Gacy mode. Joe Gacy comes down to the ring with all the druids around the ring. Gacy says, on our journey to change and embrace the world, we've come so far. So many triumphs, barriers broken for people who have been discriminated against because of their weight. NXT is the clay that I've slowly been molding over the last 6 months. Clay of acceptance of everyone and anyone. We've made great strides, but the mission isn't quite accomplished. And I don't think everyone buys into that way of life. And I ask, why? It's time to stand up and separate from the masses who want to keep living in the past. Commit to the future. Commit to my vision. Do it willingly because at NXT Spring Breaking, after there will be no choice. Braun Breaker has not told us about his injury. And that's because I know Braun Breaker is not cleared to defend the NXT Championship. Because what I did, and because of Braun Breaker's fall from grace, I, Joe Gacy, will be crowned new NXT champion. And the mold and clay that is NXT will be hardened into the vision as I see the world.
Is it safe to come out now?
NXT WWE Hall of Famer Rick Steiner then comes out and interrupts Gacy coming down to the ring. Steiner says Gacy has it wrong and that his son has been cleared for spring breaking. So Joe Gacy responds and says, Mr. Steiner, you picked a great time to come back. Or did you pick the worst possible time? All the Druids come on the apron to surround Steiner, and then Braun Breaker's music hits, and the NXT champion comes down to the ring. He starts beating up all the Druids, but eventually Gacy sends all the Druids to him and then hits his handspring lariat, and then a line of Druids hands off the NXT championship before it eventually gets to Joe Gacy, and he holds up the title to end the show. What did you think about this Joe Gacy promo in the final segment before NXT Spring Breaking next week?
You just took me out of the whole thing. I'm sorry, man. I'm so depressed right now. I sat through an entire Joe Gacy promo twice. So I can't even, like, I lost all enthusiasm in my voice because you sucked out all the energy from me, Sid. I'm gonna call you Sid because I'm shooting. What are you doing? Okay. So the issue with Joe Gacy is there's a clear issue because I get what they're trying to do. Is a guy that's finally dropping his facade. The issue I have is he's gone full Dungeon of Doom with it. So there's a way to be creepy and still not be hokey. This storyline is hokey. We know what happens when it's hokey. You're in the lair when you see an evil twin and you're smashing up the mirrors. And you got blonde bleach hair and you got receding hairline. That kind of hokey. Braun Breaker being associated with this stink of a storyline is not great. This show gets a thumbs down for Rick Steiner's theme. What kind of commercial theme music was that? You've got a WCW library. You can make him bring out any of them DFG themes that he had. The Steiner Brothers theme, I remember it.
No,
Not that
I
one.
Rise.
But in WWE, they had a theme song. They had a theme song. Any theme song. Heck, even Scott Steiner, because you love him more, wherever wrestling world, they gave him the most commercial-based music. I was offended. It took me out. I'm like, whose dad is that? That's not the DFG. So yeah, and also they played Pass the Parcel with the NXT title. I was like, I had enough of this. You are pushing my limits. I'm over this. SP, I'm done. I can't do this. I like the show itself is great, but the Gacy verse needs to die a terrible death.
Oh man, you're gonna love Joe Gacy. If you don't like Joe Gacy, I hope you all love
I like
SP Gacy.
Get out. You are a terrible human being. I love Joe Gacy, the wrestler. Joe Gacy in CZW. Joe Gacy, early days, social injustice warrior. But Joe Gacy, full Dungeon of Doom. Stop the Kevin Sullivan crap.
Oh man, I love it every single week. Sat. Before we wrap this up and we give our thumbs up or thumbs down, thumbs in the middle for this show, do we have any Mochachats in the chamber, sir?
Yeah, we got lots, guys. I'm gonna go through them. In fact, let's have to speed through them. We got Ferthausen, who I think has gone from the chat because he's got to sleep or something. He said, "Name changes are only made worse because they seem just random names drawn from a hat." So true.
It is true. Thank you for that, Mocha Chat, because you speak the truth.
Tails P says, "There's probably people who don't watch NXT but have WWE 2K and just learned who Casey is. Now she's Katana. I hope Alba Fire gets the Kane Pyro."
That would actually work for me. If she has fire coming out of the ring post, maybe I would be down with this whole name change.
And then you have Ferthausen again saying, "Not happy with Roxy's start. Should build her to become champ like the Black and Gold was good with, or find a spot on the main roster. Too talented to waste on NXT." What do you think, SP?
Yeah, that was my one gripe. Like we talked about how good Roxanne Perez was, but having her lose in her second week is like, why? When she's so good, she should be getting pushed. I understand they want to build a next underdog babyface because they lost Bryan Danielson. Johnny Gargano is not here anymore. Sami Zayn is a heel now, so they don't have any. Becky Lynch is a heel now, so all their male and female great underdog baby faces, they either turn heel or no longer with the company. But Roxanne Perez needs to be groomed. She should not be losing in her second week. They should have gave her Gigi Dolan this week, have her win that, and then have her in the breakout tournament before she takes a loss. The second week taking a loss on the week that she was supposed to debut, it just didn't make any sense for me.
Yeah, I agree with you, but the only shining light is that she lost to the champion. That's the only positive I can say about that. Tails P says, "Did anyone think the most dominant champion in WWE would be Mandy Rose? Do you even remember the last time she lost? Strong might be on his way out. Could be a good heel for Ricochet or face for Fury. Blade and Idris are so good. Grimes wins," in terms of the prediction.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Cameron Grimes is going to successfully defend next week at Spring Breaking. Yeah, Mandy Rose, I think the last time she lost was when Saray drop kicked her and they did the whole she hurt her face, but then she came back with darker hair. You remember
Yeah,
that?
yeah, yes. A list of great ideas by Book of the Year, Michael Hickenbottom. We got legit underboss. Fallon needs to get one of her friends to take one for the team and give Jensen some play so he can chill out and stop acting thirsty.
You telling me these guys go to all these bars and are barroom brawlers and they can't find one girl like that's interested in Brooks Jensen? Seriously?
SB, I ask any female, the smell of desperation is repugnant.
This is true. This is true.
Yes.
And the way he looked at Sophia Cromwell was like me with the last piece of chicken. That's the way I look at the last piece of chicken when my wife cooks some food. I'll be like, that last piece of chicken.
What it do. And guys, there was a poll today because Sat E said that I was the best super kick that I've seen in 20 years.
From
So you're
Solo
ours.
Sikoa to Cameron Grimes on this show. Yes.
Yes. So the poll was done. The results are in. 64% lost the gosh darn mind and said no.
Congratulations, Sat. You at least you had 36% who agreed with you.
I want to thank the 36% that will sound mind that agree with me that Samoans can do super kicks. So, anyway, moving on. Bubba, who's been a member for 12 months. Love you, Bubba. My neighbor's dog, who was like a second dog to me, died last night. So needs this Mocha 2.0 to cheer up. Bubba, sorry to hear about
Sorry
the
to hear
passing of your
that,
neighbor's
Bubba.
dog. All love here, man. All love for you, man. At least we
All
still
love.
have the dog face gremlin, Rick Steiner.
There you go. All love, Bubba. We are here to entertain you, to make you laugh, and to do Joe Gacy eyes.
Last Mochachats. So, guys, this is the last one. If you want to get one in, do it now as I'm reading this. Sean Busher says, howdy ladies and gents. First time live viewer, Ultra Chatter from Australia. Good day, mate. I don't often watch wrestling, but I make sure to watch everyone at WrestleTalk and PFK as often as I can. Gonna put y'all on the spot here. Top 5 Australian wrestlers. That's easy. Go SP3.
Grayson Waller, Grayson Waller, Grayson Waller, Grayson Waller, and Grayson Waller because he spits hot fire.
Mine is Tennille Dashwood. She's great, right? Tony Storm.
Yes.
She's great, right? And then Jessie McKay is one of my favorite characters. I'll put it as a wrestler. Her charisma shines.
Shout out to Jessie McKay, who her and Cassie Lee, they officially are no longer indefinitely out of in-ring action, according to Impact Wrestling and their Twitter pages. So
Robbie Eagles is a good wrestler from New Japan, junior heavyweight champion. SP3 is joking. He probably can do. He's probably thinking the same thing. Somewhere in the list. Because I was gonna say Nathan Jones. Laughter. But you asked the question, you put money there, so I'm gonna give you some because SP3 gonna give more answers. Trust me, he's real ones. I ain't gonna put Nathan Jones. No, I'm gonna put Aussie Open as one people. So yeah, that's my 5. So yeah,
I'll go with Tony Storm, Jonah. Well, he's not really. We're doing like you said, Tony Storm, and she's kind of from New Zealand.
No, she's not. Gold Coast, Australia.
Oh well, there you go. Oh, I thought she was from New Zealand.
Rhea Ripley. Sorry, guys.
I'll go with Cassie Lee and Jessie McKay because I love their personalities and they're great. And shout outs to them for no longer in ring action for now. I'm wondering why, but for now I'll just say them. And what's the 5th one?
Rhea Rip.
Yeah, I'll go with Rhea. I've interviewed Rhea. She's tall. She's taller than me. Yeah, she's not as tall though as I thought she would be, and she was wearing high heels. But yeah,
really,
yeah. So we shall see. But I'll put those in there. Those are the ones that come to mind when you.
By the way, shout out to the Australian female wrestlers because it's Indy Hartwell, Persia Perota. Like there's so many great women's wrestlers doing well. Grayson Waller's doing well. Buddy Matthews, we could have added him in there as well.
Oh,
so there's so many.
Matthews.
Yes,
that's true. That's true.
There's so many. So shout out to the guys in Australia. Thank you, Sean.
Yes, great Mochachat there, and that I think that gives us to a wrap. We don't have no more in the chamber, so let's put our thumbs in the middle. People love it when we thumb wrestle here. So thumbs up or thumbs down for this episode of NXT 2.0. Sat in 3, 2, 1. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna go thumbs in the middle. Actually, I'm gonna go thumbs in the middle because it wasn't any matches that will stand out. A lot of the matches felt like they were developmental matches, but I felt like they did a good job of hyping up next week's Spring Breaking. So if the goal of the show was to hype up Spring Breaking and any show that features 23 different women involved and the focus on the women's division, something that I've been talking about for weeks, that they have not done well to replenish the women's division. They've done a great job over the last month in adding women. Roxanne Perez, who we gushed over in this episode, she was great, as well as Nikkita Lyons, who we always love. So yeah, I think they've done a good job of replenishing this women's division, and I'm looking forward to the women's breakout tournament. They did a good job hyping up Spring Breaking, so I'm gonna say thumbs in the middle.
It is a thumbs in the middle, but that Rick Steiner theme pushed me over the edge.
That's fair. That's also fair. But
I was enjoying it into that. I was like, what the crap is that? I couldn't even get into the promo because it seems the years away from wrestling, Rick Steiner's become a better promo. Where was that eloquence in WCW? He could have been a big star.
True.
It's my brother. That was him.
But we want to hear from all of you. Let us know in the comments down below what you thought about this episode of NXT, what you thought about the focus on the women, all the name changes, my Joe Gacy promo, of course, and everything else. Sat, any final remarks?
Yeah, so we don't know what UPN stands for, but guys, remember, every Wednesday at 7 p.m., you get some BBC. SP3 have to say yes or no if this is true or not. Where they get some BBC. It's a big black content.
I like that. That's great. Toxic Attraction loves Mocha 2.0. All I gotta say, we will see you next Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. UK for another edition of Mocha 2.0 NXT 2.0 review. Like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe if you are new to the WrestleTalk Podcast YouTube channel. Of course, you got tomorrow the AEW Dynamite review. You got Friday the magazine podcast, and Saturday the LIW boys Tempest and Pete will review SmackDown and Rampage. For Sat E, I'm SP3, and this has been Mocha 2.0.